would say, work is work, outside is outside. Actually, it's not, because you spend most of your time in the office anyway. So majority of your personality is being showcased in the office. It's not being showcased outside of the office. And what you feed yourself with is what is going to invariably happen in the office. I can remember a time an employee of ours had a fight with her line manager. And all she kept saying was, don't talk to me because I'm a married woman. Don't talk to me because I'm a married woman. Why? Because that's what she has fed herself with. That being a married woman is a plus. So in the workplace, it's supposed to, doesn't add any value to you. So what I would say is, the same way that you are intentional about developing your career, be intentional about developing yourself outside of your career. And the same way that you are studying to be that fantastic customer service personnel, you should be studying to be a fantastic human being as a person. Because at the end of the day, people are working with a human being. They're not working with a robot. So if you are intentional about developing yourself, working on yourself as a person, people would enjoy working with you. And remember that people get jobs by people. If I want to recruit today, I'm going to call Eniola and say, Eniola, I'm looking for somebody in this field. Do you know anybody? She's not going to recommend the person she sees that is always fighting on social media. Why? Because her integrity is at stake. She's going to recommend the person that she believes is consistent outside and inside of the workplace. That's what I would say to that, OJ.
Thank you so very much. This question is going to be around the subject of support system, as you mentioned, right? You talked about going into your own support system so that you can be able to coordinate
All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm truly delighted and honored to welcome you to this event. This is the Work Ready Conference 2024, and it's proudly brought to you by MEC Consult. It's a virtual employability skills conference with the theme Charting Your Career Path in the Digital Era. And, I was just thinking about the conference today, and I remembered my mother. My mom took a career break, and she had come back in her late 40s or early 40s. And when my mother worked years ago, she was used to the carry the file to the Oga's office kind of system. And then you had my mom now in this digital era, and she had to make her nominal roles and use Excel. And I remember how difficult it was for her that period. And I see the efforts that my mom now puts in into trying to be all tech inclined. And I just realized that if someone in the older generation now realizes that the career path is different in these digital times, how much more we, the younger people, and it's just really very essential that we realize that the world is evolving every day. Things are changing. The way it used to be yesterday is not the way it will be today and even tomorrow. So this is very important, and there's no greater time that we'll have such a conference than now. So thank you so much, Meg Consult, for putting this together. I'm very certain that we'll have a great time. I'm very certain that you'll get value for the time that you will spend here today. So our objective is very simple: to empower and equip young individuals with essential skills, knowledge, and resources to enhance employability and foster career development. So if this resonates with you, then you're certainly in the right place. So thank you so much for choosing to spend your Saturday morning with us. You had several other options. You'd have decided to Netflix and chill, or just be in your bed on a Saturday morning, but you've chosen self-development, and that's great. And I commend you for that. So appreciate yourself. Your camera may not be on, but you can give yourself a hug, a tap on your back, and just say, well done, Adu, for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you. We have great thought leaders. I'm excited about the lineup. Kemi, Susan, Chris. It's so amazing to just see the great people that we'll be listening to today. So I'm curious. I would like to know your expectations. What do you expect today? Okay, first of all, let's do like an introduction. Just tell me your name and where you're joining in from before we go into the expectations. So I'm following the chat box. I'd like to meet you. And the video that was playing was from our last year's conference. The YouTube link is in the chat box. Just ensure that you listen to it. I mean, at a point, I'm like, I don't think we should stop. Let's just go back to last year, but we have more this year. So I'd like to meet you in the comment box. Just tell me your name, where you're joining in from. So I will start first. My name is Ado Atera, and I'm joining in from Abuja, Nigeria. So let's go. I'm waiting. I'm following the conversation in chat box. So just ensure that you let us know where you're joining in from. Oh, I will start calling names. I will call you out. Okay, thank you so much, Hamilton, for being here from Abuja. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. I'm waiting. Okay, and there's this life lesson that I've learned. Never miss an opportunity to introduce yourself. You do not just know who is in the comments just looking for you. You don't know the opportunities that you get from just being able to introduce yourself. It may just be as simple as saying, oh, my name is Ado, and someone says, oh, Ado, where are you from? What do you do? So never miss an opportunity to introduce yourself. That's your first selling point. So let's do that now. Where are you from? I'd like to know. Ezine from Abuja, thank you very much for adding your profession. Thank you, psychologist. Thank you. Mr. John Acha. Oh, good to have you here, Mr. John Acha from Abuja. Emmanuel Umo from Ecom Cross River. Thank you so much for being here. I know John and Emmanuel personally. Thank you so much for being here. More people. I'm waiting. Peace is joining in from Abuja. Thank you so much for Peace for being here. Thank you. We're about 16 on the call, and only about 5 people have introduced themselves. So like I said, never miss an opportunity to introduce yourself. It may just be your name that gets you to that next big win or that expectation you've been waiting for. So thank you, Peace. I'm still waiting. Okay, one of our guests has also introduced herself, and she said she's from Abuja. Thank you very much, Ron with Susan. Lillian from Abuja, thank you for being here. Kosi is also joining in from Abuja. Thank you, Kosi, for being here. Thank you. So I will just talk briefly on the 2 other sessions we'll be having, aside the keynote address. Miracle from Abuja, thank you, Miracle, for being here. The keynote address. Oh, I have Joanne from Abuja as well. Thank you. I'll get back there shortly. So I'm charting your career path in the digital era, So we'll have a keynote address from our speaker, Kemi. Aside that, we have something on personal branding and working remotely. This personal branding, I've come to take it very seriously too, because I mean, that's the perception that people have of you. In these times, the social media times, you can't even joke with personal branding. I clearly remember the first serious job I will have. I didn't know that my prospective boss had gone to social media and checked and all of that to see if I qualified to work on his team. So imagine that I had all of the TikTok challenges there, not to say that it's bad, but personal branding is very important. And remote work, we move to times where nobody wants to sit in the office per se. We just want to work remotely from the comfort of our homes. So we'll talk more about that. How do we land these jobs? What are the requirements? Things like that. So it's going to be impactful. It's going to be really insightful. So you're in the right place. You're spending your Saturday morning in the right place. Thank you so much for being here. So I'm also curious again, what are your expectations? What do you hope to learn? What's that one thing you want to take away? Thank you so much, Clay Joma from Rivers State. Thank you for being here. What's that one thing you want to take away? Okay, so what's your expectations for today? Just one thing, one thing, one thing. What do you want to learn? Just one. It doesn't have to be so much, just one. For me, I just really want to learn about more skills to build a more successful career in this time. So okay, how to leverage on getting remote job opportunities, especially while changing career paths. Thank you. And I've noticed that in these times we have lots of transitions. A lot of people are now like tech bros, taxi. So there's lots of transitions, from what we read in university, we're all just seeming to transition into tech. So yes, that's also a great expectation. One more person and we would move. Just let us know your expectation. When you saw the flyer, what caught your attention? Why did you choose to be here? We're young people and I'm not receiving the energy that you wanted. So we'll wait here. We won't bring up our keynote speaker or our host till we're certain that we even know why we want to be here. And just to add, why we usually ask people for their expectations, just so that you're accountable for your time, just so that you know that your time was well spent here. If you do not have expectations, you do not even know if you made anything out of a program or an event you went for. So it's great to always have expectations. So when you achieve your goal, you know that, oh, my expectation was met. But when you just come expectationless, you're not able to track your growth. You're not able to track your expectations. So that's why we insist that you should have an expectation when you're coming for an event. So I'm glad. Thank you everyone who shared their expectations for being here. Someone says how to prepare for career opportunities as a fresh graduate. I was a fresh graduate last year and these were kind of opportunities I looked for. What can you do? Because you're in that phase where it looks like you don't know exactly what to do, what career path to take. So you're in the right place as a fresh graduate. You're definitely going to get clarity on the right steps to take. Thank you so much for being here. So right away, I would move to our next agenda. And I will bring up our host. She's put this together. It's someone I know personally, and I know how much passion she has to see that young people actually get the right tools to be employable. And she's no other person than the delectable Eniola Peters. Please make her host feel. No, I'm not going to allow her put on her camera, but you will celebrate her in the comment section. Just say thank you for putting this together. Just say thank you. You can drop an emoji, dancing emoji, anyone that depicts how you feel today. Just ensure that you tell our host how excited you are that she put this together.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Great. Good morning. And thank God it's Saturday. It's a very important Saturday for us. And how was your Workers' Day celebration? Did you celebrate yourself? What did you do? Did you go out or did you stay at home sleeping? So I'm waiting. Let's talk about our Workers' Day celebration before we go further into why we are here. What did you do? What did you do for Workers' Day? Because everybody says, hey, happy Workers' Day, happy Workers' Day, happy Workers' Day. Yes, I rested all through. Thank you very much. And you may, yes, you rested all day. Oh, Kosi rested. Okay, who else did something to celebrate how, the day went? Who else did something? Attended an insightful event. Fantastic. Quality time with my family. Awesome. So it's important for us to do something, especially on holidays. You know, most of us are used to resting, sleeping, or going to work on holidays. But today I'm just here to celebrate every one of us. You're a worker, you're a business owner, you're doing well. So yes, that is the essence of this conference. My name is Daniela Peters, the founder, CEO of Med Consult and Ready Set Work Initiative. And here, basically, what we do is help people or empower people, to get the dream jobs and to stay on the dream jobs, not just about getting your dream jobs, because um, most times, like our speaker said, if you were watching earlier from our last year's conference, our speaker said some people just want to stay on the vibe and they're not equipped to actually get another job elsewhere, and so some of the things we're going to be addressing today is the digital era, because now everybody is going
Plug your laptop.
everything is going digital now. Someone is speaking.
Okay.
Ado, please can you just mute? Speaking. Thank you. Okay, Zikara said rested and lazied around. That's very nice. All right, so yeah. Like I was saying, yeah, the point of having this conference, the reason we're having this conference is actually to empower ladies and men to, not only just be carried away with working, but to equip themselves
Okay, just a moment. We would have our host back. We apologize. We're just experiencing a few technical glitches. Well, we're sorry about that. We'll have her back shortly. So, as she was saying, we're listening to the previous year's replay, and she had talked about how you don't get you can land your dream job, but the vibes does not exactly sustain you. So what's vibes? You're not personally growing per se. You're just flowing with the tides, and then when you get to that moment where your competencies are tested, then you just fall short of every requirement. So, and of course, we are in a generation where we like to do the vibes on vibes things. So it just feels like you're just there, you're just following the trends, but you're not exactly growing. And then when you access yourself in depthly, you realize that there's not so much growth. So that's what she was saying. But I think our network is good now, and she'll take it up from here. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
but I've been on mute. I'm so sorry. Okay, let me rewind. Okay, so I'll say that the reason we organized this conference is number one, to celebrate you and celebrate workers generally, because being a worker means you're doing well. And then to also encourage you, to empower you with skills that you need to get a job and stay on the job. So it's not just about getting the job, really. You can get the job through various means. You can get a job by connection, through leg, like we used to call it in Nigeria, or you can get a job through favor, like we call it as well, or through temporary qualification. Maybe you're qualified temporarily and they feel, okay, let's just put her there or put him there for the meantime, before we get the qualified candidate. Then after a while, you're not growing, you're not developing yourself, you're not even sure which path you're supposed to be on, you're not sure if this career path is for you or not for you. And that is when you need this kind of conferences, this kind of development, career development conferences, and to let you understand where you are career wise and where you intend to be. And so today, the theme for this conference is charting your career path. in the digital era. What does that mean? It simply means that right now the world's going digital. You hear a lot of AI. AI is taking a lot of people's jobs. You hear a lot of tech stuff. Everything is going tech, 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 tech. To do data is tech. To do calculation is tech. To write notes, to write stuff now is tech. I mean, I can do text to speech. I mean, speech to text now without getting an interpreter or someone that can, what do they call them, to transcribe my, my speech now. So everything is going digital. So how do we survive in this digital era? That's why we are here. I'm going to touch a little bit on temporary qualification here. Kachi says that a stage is temporary qualification. Yes, that's fine. You're in the right place, And how do we go about? Today we have fantastic speakers. Honestly, I don't know how it happened, but I got the best in the room. I actually got the best in the room. Oluwakemi, she's an HR person and she works with ULesson, and she is fantastic. I can't even wait to hear her speak, as she's our keynote speaker. She works in the digital era. She works in the digital space as well, and she's going to speak to us on how to actually maneuver this digital thing, because it's not easy. I mean, some of us are old school in quotes, and we're not understanding this TikTok, Instagram, or algorithm X. In fact, I didn't even know. Fun fact, I didn't know when Twitter turned to X. Is that bad, right? And some people literally live on that. I didn't know when. I just looked at my phone one day, I saw X. I'm like, blood of Jesus, I reject this. Which one is X again? Until I saw that, oh, it was actually the former Twitter that was X. So you see, some of us need to grow per second, right? And we have Susan. She's a brand specialist. Honestly, I've followed her. I've even learned one or two things since I started following her. She's going to come talk to us about how to, brand ourselves in and to have digital ethics and then, the way it will help you actually get job and sustain your job this time. Like Ado was saying, your Instagram space matters, your social media space matters. There was a lady I interviewed recently, and by the time I checked that TikTok, I realized that our brand was not going to work together, because our brand is definitely not my brand. That's all I can say about that. And so you see, your branding, your personal branding, how you put yourself out there matters a lot, So Susan is coming here to talk to us about how to brand ourselves. My dears, you guys have a field day ahead, and I'm telling you, please, this is not the time to miss any session. Yes, there'll be a replay on YouTube, but no, try not to miss any live session so that you can even ask your questions. And then we have my brother Chris is coming to talk about what's it called, working from home, hybrid. Oh my goodness, a lot of people still don't understand that this is the world we are in now. Hybrid work, working from home. Like, I can't imagine that you're having virtual interviews and I'm hearing a baby crying in the background. I'm having interviews and you're in your toilet because you don't want everybody around you to know you're in an interview. It is so wrong. We need to learn the ethics of working hybrid, of virtual interviews, of virtual workspace. And Chris is coming to talk about that. He's going to let us know how to actually attract and get these hybrid jobs, because Chris, that I know, has done hybrid for as long as I've known him. He's done hybrid for international firms. So you see, we need to learn these things. You can be in Nigeria and be working in Canada. It's very possible. So what we need to do, what we're going to do today, we're going to get the skills needed to actually attract and get these jobs and sustain these jobs, And then lastly, I'm just going to share a little bit on self-awareness. Fine, we know we are entering the digital era and all that. I mentioned something that I didn't know X was Twitter. Self-awareness. We need to get to a point where we know ourselves enough to know where we are, be honest with ourselves, and know where we want to be. I mean, I remember, we talk about career planning, career mapping, plan your career before you start so that you don't make mistakes and all those things. But how do you plan your career if you're not self-aware? So I'm just going to touch a little bit on being self-aware to plan your career. So don't worry, it's not a slides thing or anything, because I have 5 seconds. Ado gave me 5 seconds. I'm going to find her. Yes. All right. So basically, self-awareness includes doing personality tests and doing your career test. We have a lot of links where you can do free tests on and to discover your strengths, your capabilities, know where you can fit in personally. Once you know all that, know who you can work with, know how you can work. Some people cannot do hybrid jobs, and it's not a curse. It's just because they know themselves. They know that they can't handle these things. They can't work from home. No, I have children at home, so how can I work from home? No. So those kind of people should literally not be interested in looking for hybrid roles. Now, some people are born to work from home because they already have everything mapped out. They even have an office in the house. How many of you have office space in your house? Create a small space, with a table, chair, light, and all those things that you know that, okay, I can actually use this space for anything that I need to do that it has to do with work. So some of us, we need to understand that I know where I am part-time, I know what I want to do, and I know where I am going. Where do you want to go? Do you have SMART goals? Have you set SMART goals for your career? Do you have realistic expectation when it comes to your career? Do you know where you want to be career-wise in the next 5 years? I mean, when you go for interviews and they ask you where do you want to be in the next 5 years, they're not asking you to tell them because I want to be married in the next 5 years. No, that's not what they're interested in. They are interested in you telling them your career goals. That is what it means. So it is important to be aware of yourself, to plan yourself, to be able to tell yourself that in self-awareness. Let me just take it step by step, right? In self-awareness, you need to be able to understand your strengths, your weaknesses. By your weaknesses, they don't mean I work a lot. All those weaknesses that we have lied to each other, we'll be telling each other, I like working, I work a lot, I'm a workaholic. No, that's not what it means. Your strength, what are you good at? Your weaknesses, what are you not good at? What are you interested in? What are your values? That would help you, align you to the kind of jobs you need to get. Then you explore what you're passionate about and what motivates you. So what motivates you, for instance? Is it money? Is it impact? Is it influence? It will help you to know the kind of job you can do, and then you do it well. And then, of course, access the skills that you currently have, to identify the areas where you need to grow and develop them, to now inform the kind of courses you need to take, kind of conferences you need to attend, and all that. And then now, in mapping your career, you need to research what are the current trends, or where are we going? Like now, I remember 4 or 5 years ago when we started talking about the future of HR, the future of HR. The future we are in now was what we're talking about 5 years ago, because everybody has started seeing ahead. Oh, future of HR means you have to be working remotely. That was even before COVID. Everybody was already talking about the future of HR, future of HR. Now we're talking about navigating the present, because we have seen the future. We are in the future now. We need to navigate around it. So what is the future of the current interest that you have, of the career interest that you have? What's the future? Do your research. Identify the career paths that align with your skills. So you like a lot of people say, I want to do HR, I want to do HR. Does it align, does it align with your skills that you currently have, or it's acquired skills that you want to do? You want to acquire the skills, to get that job or something. So you need to identify the career path. So if you like to sell, for instance, you like to negotiate and sell, and you find that you're always selling, so what career path is that? Marketing. In the digital era, let's look for an example of someone that likes to sell in the digital era, that likes to talk and negotiate. It's more, everything has to come down to content creation, because you need to be able to writing skills, and then you now consider the roles that are currently emerging due to technologies like AI. Now AI is looking for people that will be composing messages for them, content writing. Even though AI is AI in quotes, there's still roles. Have you done your research? How do you fit into the current era now? And then, of course, you have to network with your professionals in the field that you're interested in, and professionals in the field that you're currently in, to see how you can, networking. Ado said something earlier, like mentioning your name and introducing yourself is just a start. That's where it starts from. Somebody might just be interested in from your name, or from where you're from, and all those things. So don't shy away from networking. We can't even underestimate. We can't over talk about that networking thing. And then the next thing now is after you now map your career, you already know like the line you're going into, then you plan your career, like set measurable goals for your career. Where do you want to be in the next 6 months? Where do you want to be in the next 6 years? Then you have to come into actionable steps. Like what are the things that I need to do now? Is it to apply for a job? Is it to write my CV? Is it to go for a training? And all those things you need to decide. Then you need to now develop a timeline for achieving your career objectives. Like I said, SMART goals. Like, what is my timeline? Like, I have 6 months to finish this course, 6 months. You can't give timeline to getting a job because that is not dependent on you. But you can only give timeline to, to achieve some milestones, like to take some steps. Like, I want to get a course, I want to write a course, I want to wait for a training, or I want to do this. Something within your capacity is what you can set timelines for. Please, let's not forget that. You can only set timelines for what is within your capacity. Then you can now you cannot have a flexible and be open to new opportunities. Now, being open-minded is important. It is not just about desiring to work in KPMG. If you get a A&B Sons Limited telling you to come and work so for instance, you like to sell, you're very good at selling, and you're not working, and you get an opportunity to come and sell at a fashion store or a boutique, for instance, don't underestimate it, because that experience you're going to get from that store is what is going to help you get a KPMG. If you don't pay attention to it, if you're not flexible, if you're not open-minded, you're not going to actually move forward. A lot of times we get carried away. We say, yeah, no. I don't have to be caught working in okay. It's not about it's not even time to shine yet. The time to shine is still coming in the future. So just hold on and enjoy the process, all right? And then the last one I want to talk about is navigating this digital era. I mean, my speakers are going to do justice to that. I am so excited. I'm looking forward to that. I want you also to be excited about that. However, I just want to say embrace continuous learning and develop your skills to stay relevant in this digital landscape. Embrace continuous learning. You cannot not embrace this continuous learning, because every day things are improving, every day things are changing, every day opportunities are coming. If you stay where you used to be, honestly, you will not enjoy this new digital era. I guess I'm going to stop there before Ado cuts me off. If you have any questions, am I taking questions?
We'll have that later.
All right. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you so much. That's our host. This is Eniola Peters. And just a few things I drew from what she had said. So what focus on what's within your control, so it's within your control to grow yourself. It's within your control to take up courses that align with your career path. Okay. All right. So, and she also said it's a learning process, so don't ever get tired of learning. I mean, and that's why you're here. And I really celebrate you for being here. It just shows that you're really open-minded and you're truly willing to learn, because a lot of people just feel like we've arrived. And in this whole career thing, I don't think anybody arrives. I don't think there's even an arrival destination of some sort. So thank you so much, Mrs. Eniola Peters. Thank you so much for putting this together. We're truly delighted that you did this. Shortly, we'll have our keynote speech. And I'm particularly excited about this because I've heard our keynote speaker, I've heard her speak over and over again. And I know how passionate she is about ensuring that you matter, your sphere of influence is someone I know. And I'm excited, honestly. And I'm sure you will be able to, when she's done, you'll be able to know why I'm this excited. Okay, so I'll read her bio and she will come up shortly after I'm done. So her name is Oluwakemi Akinyola Adedeji. She's a seasoned professional, skilled in people management, operational excellence, and career development. With a tech and organizational development background, she excels in leading teams and fostering innovation to drive business growth. Oluwakemi is a career development coach, organizational culture expert, and a public speaker, having spoken at events like AI for HR, Global Virtual Summit, and the Lagos Tech Skills Bootcamp. She's held leadership roles in companies such as Lofty Inc., Capital Management, and she currently serves as Senior Manager, People and Culture at U Lessons, a prominent EdTech organization in West Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like us to do something. Just react with an emoji in the chat box. Let Kemi feel welcome. Let her know that we're excited to have her. So an emoji, just say, Kemi, welcome. We're happy to have you here. Yes, drum rolls. Thank you so much, Ron, Miss Susan. Kemi is not coming up to celebrate her. And I don't understand our energy in this room. We must match up this energy. The energy that Kemi is bringing, we have to respond. Thank you. Let's keep it coming. Let's keep it coming. Can we have emojis, dancing, whatever emoji, clap, whatever one. If you want to even unmute and just scream, you are free to do that. Thank you so much, Kemi, for being here. So, ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speaker for today, Oluwakemi Akinola Adedeji. Floor is yours, ma.
Oh, thank you so much, Ado. Thank you so much, everyone. Please confirm that you can hear me very clearly. Because if you can hear me very clearly, please just confirm. You can just, okay, yes, you can hear me very clearly. So first and foremost, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, Mrs. Eniola Peters. Thank you so, so much. I really do not take this for granted. I'm always seeking opportunities to literally pour myself into people. And, you know, the Work Ready Conference is an amazing platform for me to do that. So I'm really so grateful. And if you're here today, I just want to say you're in the right place. You could have been somewhere else. You could have been somewhere else. You could have been you know, chilling or just sleeping or just having the Saturday morning blues. But you decided to come and build yourself here. So then let's make it count so that at least it's worth your while. All right. So so again, thank you so much for having me, and I'm really, really excited to be here today. So I have been mandated by Ms. Eniola Peters to speak on charting your career plan or your career path in the digital era, charting your career path in the digital era. So first, I'm not going to be sharing a slide. Every time I've shared a slide, I end up not using it because, you know, I like to speak to people one-on-one, and I like for them to actually feel me beyond just, you know, speaking behind the slide. But however, I can always share my slide afterwards, after the class, and then you can get to, of course, read it and do whatever you wish to do with the slide afterwards. All right, so charting your career path in the digital era. So my target audience first are not just those who are maybe entry level, who believe that they need to possibly fine-tune a new career path before they know what their purpose is and all of that. I'm also speaking to those who have been in career, who are like mid-level in their career path. I'm also speaking to you for those who will need to, you know, undergo a career change, or they might just need to pivot at some point in their career. I'm speaking to you as well. So one thing I would like to start with is the fact that work as we know it has changed. Work as we know it has changed. It's no longer like it used to be before. And those who will succeed in this changing environment are those who change with the changing environment, are those who are flexible, those who are dynamic in their thinking, dynamic in their approach, dynamic in their mindsets. Those are the kinds of people that would actually flourish in this, you know, in this age and time. Now, gone are the days where a linear career trajectory was the norm. Gone are those days where, you know, the days of our parents where you would see yourself working maybe in the civil service or in a particular organization for 10, 20, 30 years, and then you retire with a gratuity and pension. Gone are those days. Gone are even those days where, you know, you can just easily say, oh, I work in product management, for instance, and I'm going to stay 4 or 5 years here, and then in another few years I'm going to another organization. Again, gone are those days. Today we find ourselves in a very dynamic environment where adaptability, agility, continuous learning. I heard Ms. Eniola speaking about continuous learning are the currencies of success. I want you to write as I'm speaking if you can. We're in a dynamic environment where adaptability, agility, and continuous learning are the currencies of success. See, if you're not able to be adaptable, if you're not able to change as the time goes, if you're not someone that is able to continuously learn, continuously find yourself being curious to learn new things, find yourself asking the right questions, you're not likely to be successful. And I'll explain. In time past, people have, people pride themselves in, I know my job, I'm good at this, and then that is all. But right now, knowing your job alone is not enough to guarantee success. That I can tell you. Knowing your job alone is not a guarantee, all right, that you will be successful at whatever you do. It goes beyond just knowing your job. It goes beyond just going to school. It goes beyond just acquiring masters and, acquiring certifications. And that's why sometimes people come to me and say, Kemi, oh, I want to do this. What course and what certification should I take? I tell them, wait first. Let's even be sure that you actually even need a certification. Because the ones that you have read before, the BSc and the ICANN and the PMP and the CIPM and the various other certifications that you have done, what have you done with it? Can you see? It's not about acquiring more certifications if you have not learned these currencies of success. All right. In this digital age, the traditional career roadmap has been replaced by a sprawling network of possibilities, limited only by our imaginations and willingness to embrace change. Meaning that what you can achieve in this digital age is limitless. If you ever find yourself limited, you are the one limiting yourself, either by your imaginations or by your environment or by your thinking. But in reality, actually, the opportunities are endless in this digital age. This is the age that we're in, where you can literally be in your house and make 6-9 figures from the comfort of your home. That wasn't possible 10, 20 years ago. But right now, you can literally be in your house and you can make millions as long as you're willing to learn the ropes of the game. You do not have to leave your house. You do not have to leave your country. You do not even have to have a BSc. That's how dynamic the environment is. You do not even have to go to a traditional school. I have people who I know that are YouTube taught, that are self-taught in several languages, in several skill sets, and they are making so much money. All right. That is what the digital age affords. Now, we are currently in the VUCA world. I will explain what that means. Now, the digital age where we're in is called the VUCA world. And now, what is the VUCA world? It's very important that you understand the world that we're in. All right. It's very important that we understand the world that we're in, the worlds that we're in, for you to understand how to approach that world. Now, VUCA in itself stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. I'll quickly speak about each of them and how you can actually plug in and navigate yourself around this world that we're in. All right. This particular word, VUCA, is an acronym that originated from the military and has been adopted in business and organizational context to describe the challenges and the conditions of the modern day world, which you actually play in. This modern world is where you have found yourself in. And here's the breakdown of each of these components. Now, volatility refers to the speed, the rate, and the magnitude of change in every given situation. Now, volatile environments, when you say an environment is volatile, or when you say that, a particular stock market, for instance, is volatile, it means that there are unpredictable shifts, making it difficult to anticipate an outcome or plan effectively. So, for instance, when our parents were growing up, you can tell that they will tell you that, oh, at that time, I remember that my dad would always tell me that, from their 400 level, they had gotten a job in the bank. And my dad worked in the bank. He rose in the banking sector. And he will tell you that from your 400 level, you knew the bank because the banks were already coming to school to come and, recruit you. In fact, sometimes you even have to choose between 3-4 banks because everybody knew that these were the, like, you know, oil and gas, banking, this were like that was the time of the banking age. There was a boom in that sector. You know, it was easy to plan that, okay, when I'm done with my school, I'm going to serve in this bank, or I'm going to literally work here for like 15 years or something. It was very easy to plan, and, you know, they could take a loan and build a house and do all of those, you know, fantastic things. All right. But let me tell you something. You have to understand that that level of predictability exists no longer. It no longer exists. So that is what it means to be volatile. When the speed at which things happen is unpredictable, and it is difficult to anticipate the outcome and plan effectively. Now, what skill do you need to counter volatility? You need to be able to think on your feet. You need to be able to plan on your feet. So you don't have enough time to say, oh, let me see what is going on. Let me understand let me understand my next plan. Let me understand what I need to do before I make a move. Before you are planning to make a move, the move has already shifted. It has actually changed. And that's why you realize that a lot of people are very confused. They are shocked. They're in shock all the time. Like, oh, I thought they said that this particular career path is the career path that will make me money. But all of a sudden, that's no longer the career path that will make you money. All right. It's now something else. And they were still, you know, taking a career path in that particular area. And before you know, things have actually changed. The second thing is uncertainty. Uncertainty describes the lack of predictability or clarity about the future. In uncertain environment, there may be multiple outcomes, multiple possible outcomes, but the likelihood of each outcome is unclear. So decision-making becomes challenging, and information is incomplete and unreliable. So, and that's the world that we're in today. A lot of things are uncertain, right? You are not able to predict what the possibility of an outcome will be. You're not able to understand some of the information that you get, whether it is true or not. Now, what we have in this day and age is overload of information. In our parent age, in the past centuries, they had lack of information. But right now we have so much information, and we have an overload of information. So much so that it is actually very unclear to tell which one is complete, which information is reliable, which information is true. You have a lot of false information out there, but it's now your skill. It's now dependent on you to be able to see which information is true from which information is false. To be able to see which information is reliable and which information is unreliable. But everything around us right now screams uncertainty. The third thing is complexity. Complexity refers to the intricacy and, you know, interconnectedness of factors in a given situation. Complex environment involves multiple variables, relationships, interdependencies that makes it difficult to understand the cause and effect relationships or develop simple solutions. I'll give you an example. Right now, for instance, as a fresh graduate, you're probably a bit confused as to what you need to do next. Some people don't understand. I've had to coach a lot of young people, and the first thing that you're asking is, I don't even know, from uni, do I have to go and serve first, or am I wasting my time by serving, or do I just go abroad and do a master's? And some secondary school students are even asking that, is the university even necessary at this point in time? Should I just go and take one or two certifications, maybe say in software development, go to a software school, or go to a product school, and just, you know, go in the line of my passion, right? Instead of me going to go and waste 4 years at the university, where, you know, the same, and, you know, the same thing I'll get in a university, I'll probably get in a product school, and I'll probably get in a software engineering school. Just that I won't be getting a BSc, but I'll be getting something else. So there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of complexity, even in the approach that people intend to take in thinking out simple solution. The simple solution seems complex. All right. Now, it's not just about knowing the job that gets you the job. There are other situations that help you land a job, or help you land an opportunity, as the case may be, which we'll be seeing very shortly. And lastly is ambiguity. Ambiguity describes the lack of clarity or consensus about the meaning or interpretation of an information. Ambiguous situations are characterized by multiple interpretations, conflicting signals, or mixed messages, leading to confusion and indecision. So that is the world that we're living in. All right, it is a VUCA world. Together, this element of VUCA captures the challenges of navigating a world characterized by constant change, unpredictability, complexity, and ambiguity. Individuals must develop strategies, and that's why you are in this conference. You must be able to develop strategies and capabilities to thrive in such VUCA environments, including adaptability, resilience, agility, ability to learn and innovate rapidly. That's very important. Now, let's now come to the digital age, which is, the core of why we're here. Now that you don't understand the world that you're in, how unpredictable the world is, how challenging the world is, how unstable things are, how unstable the economy is. Look at the economy. It's up one time, it's down another time. The dollar is up one time, and for some people, they'll be feeling like, how has the dollar got to do with me? How has the dollar got to affect me? It affects you a lot, because when the dollar is high, for instance, when the Naira is weak against the dollar, it means that a lot of companies are struggling. It means that if they plan to recruit before, they can no longer recruit. It means even their current workforce, they're currently downsizing. That is the meaning. That is how it affects you. So if you think that the economy does not affect you because you're not yet in the working space, or you don't have kids yet that you're paying school fees for and all of that, then it doesn't affect you. It's not true. It affects you in all ramifications. Everything that goes on in the economy, even outside of the country, affects you. Wars in other countries affect you without knowing. All right, wars when Ukraine and when Ukraine and Russia, when they're having agitation, and other countries are having agitations against each other, it actually affects you as a person, because that affects probably the exchange rate, or it affects the interest rates and all of those things. It affects you in a way. It might not affect you directly, but indirectly affects you. And that's why you have to understand how to thrive in such world. Now that we understand the world that we are in, right? Now, how do we navigate this uncertainty? How do we chart a course that aligns with our passion, our values, our aspiration in a world that is constantly in a flux? This answer lies in embracing the following principles I will speak about now. Now, the first that I've spoken about is embracing lifelong learning. See, the beauty of technology is the fact that things are never in a fix. Things are rapidly changing. There's rapid improvement per time. You can close your eyes and open it, and then, of course, improvement. There's been technological improvement from where you last saw it. All right. Now we're talking about before we're talking about the world of having your phone, having your laptops, having internet, and all of those things. Now, the world has gone beyond that. All right, the world has literally gone beyond that right now. Right now, you're talking about things like artificial intelligence, things like machine learning, things like game theory. Those are some of the things that we're now talking about. It has gone beyond just having internet and having a laptop or having social media. Now people are using this technology to do big things. People are now using AI to do big things. People are cloning people. It's possible that I'm not even the one talking. It's possible that it is my clone that is talking. That's the beauty of technology. That is the beauty of, of AI. All right. Now, how can you, as a graduate who graduated 10 years ago or who graduated 5 years ago, keep up with the technological advancements that is happening day in, day out in this our world? You have to cultivate an attitude of lifelong learning. And lifelong learning, guys, is not necessarily about accumulating certification. I see a lot of people, they have so much certification, yet they don't know, yet they know nothing. They have so much certification, yet they know next to nothing, because they just want to, in this part of the world, we're so big on certifications. We're so big on titles. Oluwakemi Akinola, PhD, MSN, SIS, this, that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you just committing yourself to constantly reading, constantly just knowing what is going on across the world. If I ask you now, for instance, what is going on in our country right now? What's the latest? What's top of the news in our country? beyond what is going on social media bans, things that can literally affect, our trajectory as a nation. What exactly is going on? Can you tell me? So it's not about certification. It's about also knowing what is going on in the tech industry. If you're in the health space, what is going on in the health industry? What is the next development in your industry? You understand? What is that? What's that thing that will be useful to your industry in the next 5 years? Let me tell you how people make money. People make money by going beyond or going ahead of their contemporaries or going ahead of their world. So for instance, if you're in the health space, for instance, how do you make money? If you know that, okay, imagine those who knew or who foresaw COVID, those who realized that, oh, there might be a pandemic coming, or those who quickly took advantage of COVID. We were not waiting and saying that, wait, let's see where this thing is going to. Those who quickly, in the first month of COVID, quickly crafted a business around COVID, were the ones that made serious money. Because they saw where this thing was going to, they could immediately read up about it, get the trajectory of where it was going to, and capitalize on that opportunity. Those are the people that posterity respects. All right. And that is why you have to commit yourself to lifelong learning about your industry, learning about the changes that might occur in your industry. It doesn't have to be limited to just tech. Whatever industry that you're playing in, try to always stay ahead of the industry. Try to stay ahead of the game. It is very, very important. Yes, people that sold nose masks. I knew people that became millionaires from selling nose. It is not as if they say, I knew people that became millionaires from selling nose masks. I knew people that became so rich from hospitals that became so rich from setting up isolation centers. All right. They saw it coming. They didn't even see it coming. Just the way it broke out with everybody. When people were saying, what is this pandemic like? What is this thing happening? They already set up isolation centers and they made billions. I'm not talking about millions, but billions and billions of dollars from selling vaccines. So people made so much money from transporting food, because farmers could not go to the farm. There was some food shortage. The people already, they hoarded their food supply and sold it at a higher price. So people made so much money. And that is from you capitalizing on an opportunity. But if you're one of those people that it is when things have already, capitalized and things have already gone round, and you're like, so how can we not make money from this when it's already like 6 months old and everybody has already found their own berry? That is when you're now waking up. It does not work like that. And how you can always stay ahead of the game is from constantly educating yourself. Constantly educating yourself. And this is, again, like I said, this is not about BSc. If you don't have a BSc, I encourage you to get a BSc. If you don't have a master's, I encourage you to get a master's. It's good. But that does not mean that you necessarily know what you should do next. Because education is just to help your thinking. It does not necessarily help you make decisions. How you make decisions is by constantly reading the papers, reading what's going on online, seeing how you can plug in, seeing how you can, capitalize on an opportunity. That is how you can constantly stay ahead of the game. And that is how you can be rich in simple terms. What separates a millionaire from a billionaire, or what separates you from, making more money than you already have is information. And how do you get information? By seeking it out. And that is learning. What is learning? Seeking out information that you did not know about. That is what learning is. All right. So the next thing basically is cultivate adaptability. Some of you, if you move from Nigeria to another country, you are finished. Some of you move from Lagos. In fact, let me use Abuja to Lagos. Some of you move from Abuja to Lagos. That's your end. Because you're very used to the slow life, the chill environment of Abuja. You go to Lagos and you just cannot function. You can't function. Yes, you can't function because you're like, hey, in Abuja, is it time I used to wake up and by 9 I'm ready at work. Now in Lagos, I have to wake up by 4:30 a.m. I cannot function. And because that Abuja, that Lagos is where your high-paying job is, you can't function. You are constantly struggling because you lack adaptability. That's a problem. There are people who, the way they knew how to write CV is the same way they've been writing it. Marital status, age, number of children, what's that word? State of origin, local government area. That is how they know how to write CV. And they have refused They have refused to learn a better way of doing it. They are not adaptable. Some people now, since they've been using Facebook is all that they know how to use. They don't know that the world has moved on beyond Facebook. There's now Instagram. There's now TikTok. You understand? There are other things that are coming out. Some of you, the way you know how to write, you don't know that there's something called ChatGPT. You don't know that there's something called there's something called Gen AI. There are so many other things that can make your life easier. You don't know about it. You don't care to know about it. Even though sometimes you even know. That's the good thing about adaptability. Sometimes you even know because you have gone to research, because you committed yourself to lifelong learning. But now, adopting that learning to your everyday life is a problem. You're going to be on the spot because it's not about those, because the world is not about those who know, it's about those who do. Doing is what brings the results, not just knowing. It is doing. Knowing alone does not in any way help you get any results. It is you doing, it is you taking steps that helps you actually get the result that you are looking for. So adapting to every environment, every changing environment. Right now, as I am like this, I stay battle ready. If you tell me, I say, Kemi, the next thing right now is what is ABC. Before you know it, I'm already in DEF. Because I want to stay ahead. I'm constantly adapting. Some people now, what they are scared of right now is artificial intelligence. AI is about to take our jobs. AI is about to. I keep telling people, AI will not take your jobs. AI will take the jobs of those who refuse to adapt AI into their work process. Those are the people that AI will take their jobs, because AI cannot do a lot of the things that human beings do. But because you constantly think that because you have refused to even understand what AI does, how you can adapt it to your work processes, that is why you think AI will take your job. No. It is those who have refused to allow AI improve their work process that AI will take their jobs. So a key core skill in this digital era is adaptability. It is characterized by rapid change and disruption. Those who will thrive are not necessarily the smartest or the strongest, but the most adaptable. Embracing change as an opportunity for growth rather than a threat to stability. Did you see what I just said? Embracing change as an opportunity for growth rather than a threat to stability is how you would indeed succeed in this digital era. Thirdly, is leveraging technology to your advantage. In this digital era, technology is not just a tool, but a strategic enabler. Write that down. In this digital era, technology is not just a tool, but a strategic enabler. From data analytics to artificial intelligence to harnessing the power of technology can harness new possibilities and propel your career to new heights. Right now, the biggest career path, the most sought out for career path in the world, in the world of tech right now, is cloud engineering, not software engineering. I know some people have pivoted, they've stuck themselves in software engineering. Oh, I know how to code. You know how to code. Now, everybody is online. Everybody is digital. What is now the next threat in our digital age? Securing our cloud. Cybersecurity. There's so much unethical hacking, people hacking into people's phones, people's devices, people stealing, moving money, internet fraud. Now, security of our digital space is now the next thing. So that you know how to code now is not the big deal. Everybody can code. Now, what is now the problem in this everybody can code is now security. So cyber security and cloud security is the biggest career in the digital age right now. Guess the number two. The number two is not software engineering. The number two is data analytics. Data. People need now. You remember what I said when I was introducing? I said right now, there's so much information overload. We cannot tell which one is which information is reliable, which one should we do, which one should we not do. Now, we need data to back up our information. If I say there are 10 boys in Abuja, I need data to back it up. There's another that says, in God we trust, every other person should bring data. In God we trust. It's only God that we can trust. Every other person should go and back up their claims and their information with data. So if cloud engineering and, cloud, if you are in the core engineering space and you say, oh, I can code, and that is where you stop. I have engineers who are so good, who have 10 years, they did not come into engineering in this tech space. They've been doing engineering even at the wake of the digital age. Now they are now learning cybersecurity. They're learning data analytics because they're seeing that is where the world is tilting to. That is where the world is, moving to. And that is what adaptability is. So you have to see technology as an enabler, not as a threat to your stability. All right? It is important that you harness the power of technology so that it can propel you into new possibilities and propel you into new career heights. Very important. Fourthly, this is where I love to talk about the most. Build a diverse network. Some of you think it's all about, oh, I know this thing. I know the tech of it. I understand what it is. I know the job. But you have zero network. I was talking to somebody one just on Thursday. Yeah, it was on Thursday. I was talking to a very senior friend, a very senior colleague. And, his way, of course, financially, he's way richer than me. And then he was telling me that we're just talking about something, and he was like, Kemi, that you're richer than me. Oh. I said, what do you mean? I said, but you know my income, you know what I earn. I don't think I'm richer than you. He said, no. He said, that's the problem. Do you think that money is all that there is to being rich? He said, you have a more diverse network than I do. And the things you can command, I can't command it. Even though I have money, by the reason of my experience, my age, and all of that. But all I did was focus on the work. I didn't build my network. But you have done so well to build a huge network. So much so that if we both need 50 million now, and I don't have 50 million in the bank, you are likely to get the 50 million faster than I will get the 50 million. Is it correct? Yes, I think it's correct. Because I have a diverse network, I'm likely to get money faster than that other person who makes money on a regular. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Because your network is actually your net worth. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So it's very, very important that you leverage your network. You have to build a diverse network. We're in a hyper-connected world. Your network is your network, and you have to surround yourself with individuals who inspire, who challenge, and who support you. There's something that I put on my social media because I also do content creating. There's something I put on my social media, and I said, if you are seeking a job and you've been struggling to get a job, the first thing for you to do is for you to cut off anybody that makes you feel less of yourself because you are job hunting. Because if you don't cut them off, you will constantly doubt yourself. And when you constantly doubt yourself, you won't do well. You won't put in a solid application. You won't do well during the interviews. And you will ultimately stay in that bubble of job searching for a longer period of time. Because your network determines how inspired you are, how challenged you are, how support, what kind of the quality of support that you receive. Some of you in your level of influence, you are the smartest. You like to be in an environment where you are the smartest, where you are the richest, where you are the most beautiful. It's not true. You have nobody around you to inspire you, have nobody around you to challenge you, you have nobody to make you go, wow, I need to do better. You don't have mentors, you don't have collaborators, you don't have allies who can help you navigate the complexities of the digital space. And you say you're on your way to success. No, you have to get a diverse network. As you're looking at me right now, a lot of my friends consist of those who are older than me, those who are better off than me. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It's very, very important that you're not comfortable in your space and say, oh, I'm the best. Everybody's calling you sa. No, go to a place where you feel inadequate because of where other people's success intimidates you. That is how you are able to grow. That is how you're able to do better. Don't go to a place where you are the best all in all, and you think that you have arrived. I always tell people it is better to be a small fish in a large pond than to be a big fish in a small pond. When you are a big fish in a small pond, you have an arrival mentality. You think that that is all that there is to life and destiny. No, be the smallest fish in a large pond, because that way you realize that you want to eat more, because so that you can grow big like other fishes in that pond. And guess what? Once you grow big enough for that pond, what do? You move to a bigger pond. And that is how you constantly improve and increase, because you keep growing. And when you realize that that pond is too small for you, you move to a bigger pond. So you find yourself in the ocean. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So it's very important that you constantly build a diverse network so that you can get the support that you need, and that will help you navigate these complexities of a digital landscape. And that is why it's very important that you are actually here, as you know, in this conference, because in this conference you have Miss Eniola Peters, you have other people that she will bring to mentor you, people that you can follow, that you can literally talk to help you navigate this complex world. And then finally, be proactive and entrepreneurial. I don't care if you actually work in a 9 to 5. The digital era rewards those who are willing to take initiative and chart their own course. Don't just say I'm in a 9 to 5. It's whatever my employer tells me to do that I will do. No. You have to be entrepreneurial. You have to be proactive. I said that at the beginning, in adaptability. Be constantly proactive. Where is this thing going to? Where is this? Now this is 2020. This is 2024, right? I know people that are in politics personally. They're already planning for the next election. And that's why I said that as the youth in this country, as the youth of this country, we're not ready. Why do I say we're not ready? We just like, it's when the election starts now that will come and start saying, not too young to run, not too young to run. Those who really are in politics, they started planning the next election. Proactiveness. And you said they will not enter. They will enter now because they are proactive. They started planning the next election. This is just 2024. The next election is when? 2027, but they're already planning it already. Can you see that? So it's very important that you are extremely proactive as an individual, because that is what the world rewards. The world does not reward those who is when everybody are getting, that's also when they are also getting it. The world rewards those who, as before it happens, they already know. Before it happens, they're already acting on it. That's even what your employers reward. But as an individual, you have to be proactive in your thinking. You have to be proactive in your mindset. You have to know what you want to do next. Whether it is to start a side hustle, whether it is to pursue a passion project, whether it is to take on new responsibilities at work, whether it is to seek every opportunity to create value and make a difference. It is important that you are proactive. In conclusion, navigating your career in this digital era requires a combination of vision, adaptability, relentless pursuit of excellence. In conclusion, navigating your career in this digital era requires a combination of you having a vision, of you being adaptable and relentless in pursuing excellence. By embracing lifelong learning, cultivating adaptability, leveraging technology, and building a diverse network, as well as being proactive and entrepreneurial, you can chart a course that not only survives, but thrives in the ever-changing landscape of the digital era. Thank you very much.
Gosh, this was so good. I mean, I don't know, I don't have words. And I like that Kemi has a way around just infusing humor into her conversation. So you will laugh, but you will get the message, especially the part of the CV. Where people still have their local government on their CV and all of that. It was so funny, but we got the message. Thank you so much, Kemi. So how was this for you? Can you just let us know in the comment sections? How was it? How was it? The one says thank you. Thank you so much, Kemi. Says it was impactful. Precious says there was so much value. Thank you so much. Awesome presentation. Amazing. It was amazing indeed. And if there was something that Mrs. Peters as well as Kemi has said is embrace lifelong learning. We never arrive. Ensure that you embrace learning. And for people that don't still believe, that are still in denial about AI, I mean, it's time that we embrace it. And your network, I know Kemi is one that is very big on people. She's very big on relationships. So I wasn't surprised when she had said that. So I mean, I'm just even myself, I was just scanning who are the people in my network, who do I need to change, where do I need to be? And when she said that. So thank you so much. So what says you hit the nail on the head, and I can't, that's so true. So true. Thank you so much, Kemi. So we have opportunities for questions, but I'll just take one at this point. For Kemi. So Mr. John Archer says he has a question, so I'll just allow him speak briefly. So the question is directed towards Kemi. Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
So please, can I just paste the question on the chat so she reads it and answers?
Okay, you can. I'll read it to her. I'll read it.
All right, thank you.
Or do you think you will explain better if you speak?
Okay then. Let me ask. Okay,
All right,
when she was talking, she spoke about the impact of the war between Ukraine and Russia on the Nigerian economy. Now, my question is, maybe with specific examples, how does the war in faraway Eastern Europe affect the economy in Nigeria and our ability to develop ourselves, in this area of information and technology? Then the second question is, when she spoke about adapting and using like in the issue of learning and writing, and she spoke about using AI chats on Chat GPT and all that. My question is, okay, someone like Miss Ado that writes, if say she's writing a book or she's writing a presentation and she uses Chat GTP, don't you think it's killing her originality? Because what that AI does is that it goes around, collects what's already on the internet. If you ask it a particular question, it hunts around, collects what's already there on the internet and feeds it back to you. So that's like plagiarizing. It's as if she's copying. So it kills originality. So my question is, what do you think about that? So yeah, thank you.
Ooh, thank you very much. Thank you so much for that brilliant question. I like people that, are very open about their questions. So we're in a global economy. So what's the name of the person that asked the question? Sorry, I'd like to address him directly.
Sorry, my name is John Archer.
John Archer, okay.
Yes,
so John, we're in a global economy, all right? And for a country like Nigeria, that is a consumer country, we're not self-sufficient as a country where we consume more than we produce. As a matter of fact, our economy consists of over, if I'm not mistaken, 80% consumption and importation. All right. Now, Iran and Ukraine's war, you might look at it as, oh, it's
Russia
fine.
and Ukraine, you mean?
Sorry? Russia and Ukraine's war, you might look at it as if, oh, it's it's very far away. How does it affect us? I'm going to give you an example. Ukraine themselves are a powerhouse when it comes to the production of food. Ukraine. And this particular war in itself has led to food shortage globally, meaning that things you would naturally import maybe for, let me give an example, say for like $10,000. Yes, wheat. I don't just mention it. They are a powerhouse in food production, Ukraine. Now, what this war now says is that because, of course, the war, they are constantly dropping mortars on them and dropping missiles and all of that, they can't export as much as they should export. Meaning that even countries that they don't get the chance to export to, because remember that they cannot produce as much in their country because of the war, meaning that there's food shortages. As a matter of fact, Ukraine even had to even get aid. They have to get aid from the UN. They have to get food aid. That's a country that produces food. Now they have to get aid, meaning that there was a global shortage of food due to this war. Especially for countries that's dependent on them, that depends on them. An example of those countries is actually Nigeria. So where you need to probably import food for say like $10,000 maybe per container trailer or something, that $10,000 automatically goes to what? $100,000 or $50,000. And that is why you now hear things like, cost of importation is very high, right? And before you know it, the cost of living also jumps up. And when the cost of living, when the cost of prices jumps up, the standard of living depletes. So that's what we call inflation. What you could use 10 naira to buy before, you now need 15 naira to use it to buy. Imagine my shock. I don't drink pure water. But imagine my shock as the day I learned that one pure water now is 15 naira. I said, pure water. At least I was in Lagos when the thing moved from 5 naira to 10 naira. And then when I came into Abuja, I realized that pure water was 20 naira in Abuja. I was like, okay, that's still okay. I was shocked when I heard that pure water is now 15 naira. So it spirals into everything. When you think that, okay, for instance, Russia is a juggernaut in oil, all right? These are countries where, and remember that when two countries are fighting, they have allies. Countries take sides. And when countries take sides, so for instance, if Nigeria and Ghana are fighting, all right, countries in Africa would definitely take sides. And if they take sides, it means that if, for instance, I was supplying cotton to South Africa, and South Africa takes side with Ghana, it means they will not buy cotton from me any longer, meaning that there's a cotton glut in my country. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And what happens to the prices of cotton in my country? Because there's a cotton glut, the prices go down. So the global economy is interconnected, especially for a country like Nigeria that is not self-sufficient. We don't grow our own food. We import things as toothpick. We import the barest things. We are sure affected. And that is why you realize that the dollar during that period really spiked. It took a lot of policies from the CBN to drive the dollar back down. They literally had to pump dollar, artificial dollar. There's something that we're producing, but they had to print and pump artificial dollar into the economy to drive the dollar economy down. So trust me, it's a global economy, and this has impact on inflation. It has impact on interest rates. We also borrow. So the interest rate with which we borrow has also gone up. So this is how these things affect us as an individual. I want to ask you a question. Is the economy the same thing as it was last year January or last year April? Things have literally tripled. So these are some of the effects. And it's not just happening because it is Nigeria. There are some external things, such as this kind of war, that impact maybe like oil prices, that impacts transportation, that impacts prices of living, that impact the common man. So it's literally a chain. Now, coming to ChatGPT, you're not supposed to plagiarize anything at all. ChatGPT or whatever AI tool you're using is supposed to be a guide, and it's supposed to make your work faster. ChatGPT is just one of those AI. There are some AI tools that when you put in whatever you want to put in, it can create a slide for you in 5 minutes. It will create a beautiful slide for you in 5 minutes. There are AI tools that you can use that if I'm sending all of you a video now, like the way I'm speaking to all of you now, maybe I'm doing that one, I've used it before because I work in the education space. I'm sending all of you a video, say, oh, hello, Ado, you are welcome to the Work Ready conference. As you are hearing hello, Ado, as she is hearing hello, Ado, you'll be hearing hello, John. Another person will be hearing hello, Eniola. It's the same video. I did not do multiple videos, but it will automatically, all I just need to do is to impute the names of the people that I wanted to mention. And when it is getting to your own inbox, it will be mentioning everybody's different names. I can send that video to 1,000 people and they feel like it is personalized. That is the power of AI. So AI is ChatGPT. Can you see the advantage of, proactive or be proactive? ChatGPT stole the market because they came out very, 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 very quickly. They had not even balanced the thing. They are not even balanced. The thing was still sketchy, was still struggling, they still released it. And because of that, when you say AI, what is synonymous to AI is what? ChatGPT. That is what we call the first market advantage. Do you understand? That is the power of being proactive. But there are so many AI tools that are even doing better, that even have better effects than even ChatGPT. But the one that you know is ChatGPT because they were the first to come out. They had the first advantage. All right. But it really, you're not supposed to plagiarize. It should help guide and make your work faster. Under no circumstance is plagiarizing acceptable or tenable, but it should basically make your work process faster. Do you understand? And it does not in any way take away your creativity. When you go and Google stuff, when you say, oh, Google, how many elephants do we have in the world? Does it take away your creativity? You're seeking out information. And that is also what AI does for you. So AI is not supposed to make you dumb or make you just begin to copy and paste. It's to help your thought process. It's to help you think faster and help you create results faster, basically. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much. You brilliantly answered all the questions, and I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Kemi. Thank you so much for responding. Okay, so we'll go right away. We'll move to the second segment for today, and we'll be talking on remote work and digital nomadism. And we have our speaker here already, and he's Chris Chukwunyere. I'll read his bio, and we'll have him come up. So he's an accomplished international development expert with a strong track record in program design, management, and coordination across various sectors, including cancer control and global health security. His extensive experience includes leading projects funded by prestigious organizations such as the US Center for Disease Control and the CDC Foundation. As a skilled business development consultant, he has successfully secured significant funding for programs addressing critical issues like cancer control and COVID-19. Additionally, Chris is the co-founder of Inspire World International Foundation, where he spearheads initiatives focused on human and health systems development, leaving a lasting impact in multiple countries. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's make welcome our second speaker for today, Chris. Please respond with an emoji as usual. Just let him know that we're glad to have him here and learn from him. Yes. Thank you. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ado. Thank you, everyone, for joining this session. Thank you, Eniola, for inviting me. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you, Kemi, for that amazing session. I joined, for a bit, went out, came back again. So I'm glad to be here, and I look forward to a great session with you guys. Thank you for the warm welcome. So can you please enable me to share my screen? I'd like to do a presentation on this with a slide. Thank you. I'm seeing while we're waiting for the slide, the share screen to be effected. Let me be reading everyone's comment, and I could see your names. Lillian, it's nice to meet you here. Thank you, Kemi. Donna, thank you. Run with Susan, thank you. Thank you. Precious, thank you. Samuel, thank you. All right, okay, so yes. Can you guys see my screen? If you can, please say hi. Can you see my screen? Yes, okay, great. Precious, thank you for that. All right, so we're going to be talking about remote work and digital nomadism. All right, so before we even go into that, what does remote work mean to you? You can put it in the chat session. What does remote work mean to you? And what does digital nomadism mean? All right, let's see, very fast fingers. Very fast fingers. What does remote work? Let's just do remote work first. What is remote work? What does it mean to you? What does remote work mean to you? Anybody? Okay, so while we're thinking about that, so during this session, we're going to be looking at a couple of things. We'll look at introduction of remote work. We'll look at the advantages of remote work, challenges, and strategies for effective remote work. We'll also look at digital nomadism, the pros and cons of digital nomadism, tips for successful digital nomadism, and then we will conclude and then go into our questions and answers. Okay, so so let's go back to what is remote work. Remote work, working outside the standard office space of an organization, working from home. Thank you for that, Yime. Vivian said, remote work is a job that's done from the comfort of your home or necessarily an office space. Remote work is working from any chosen location of your choice. I like that. Okay, thank you. Ruth, remote work is where we just fighting over on Twitter. This remote work that we were just fighting, okay, we'll talk about that later. I needed the definition. All right, the practice of employees doing their job from a location other than the normal working environment. Any work that allows an individual to do the job from any location than the office operated by the employer. These are just the definition of what remote work is. It's basically doing your work from a place other than the traditional office setting or a place that is provided specifically for work by your employer. So you can work from anywhere. So anywhere could be working from your home or working from a working space or co-working space outside of your home, or working from anywhere or any other geographical location that is outside your employer's premises. Okay, so for instance, I do a remote work where the office is in Geneva, but I'm here in Nigeria and I'm working from home. But sometimes I work from a co-working space. Okay, so the idea is that you are not in the same geographical location that is provided by your employer as a place where you could work from. So you can work from anywhere. And because of COVID or during COVID, we saw the importance of working remotely. Okay, so as at the time when COVID hit, I was in the US and I was working with an organization at that time in Washington, DC. So one of the things that they did at that time was to say, okay, everyone should work from home. And that was, few organizations had been, trying to do hybrid style of working from home and come to work in some days. And then some organizations like the IT organizations that really do not need that physical presence of employees, at that time where, a couple of organizations were doing the remote work thing. But when COVID hit, almost, in fact, everyone had to do remote work. And then organizations began to put together the infrastructure that will enable work from home. So as at the time, as in the US, I started working from home, and then they said, okay, you have to take your laptop home. And then there was a setup, of a cloud system where the IT guys, it will show if you're actually working from home or not. So my boss used to, when they are online or when everyone is online, will know that, okay, everyone is online. There's a signal that shows that you're online. That way your employers or your supervisor could actually know when you're online. And then different infrastructures began to come up to enable or ensure that people work effectively from home. And from that, the trend just continued. A lot of people now began to see that, okay, we can actually work from home because, the offices had to shut down. In fact, in my office at that time, they gave out, several of the things that were in the office space because they had to work from home for another 1 year. So they gave out all the laptops, some of the computers, the desktop computers, the printers to other non-profit organizations, around at that time. So people began to see that, okay, we can actually work from home, save costs for office space, because that was actually, gulping a lot of money. We could save the stress of commuting from home to office every day and all of that. So people began to see how you could actually reduce costs, but then ensure that there is productivity, ensure that, the staff or the employees still do the job that they're supposed to do, and their task, would be accomplished. And so everyone now began to see, okay, it's important to actually do remote work, or remote work is possible. And then there are a couple of trends, that began to happen. So as a result of, technology, as a result of the pandemic and, a couple of different things, there were now remote work opportunities that were now springing up. People began to design job opportunities that will enable remote work. And then people began to think through the strategies of how to just engage people remotely and get them to still do their job and then getting paid. Now, some organizations, as the pandemic, began to subside, some organizations began to they didn't really fully go back to, the everyday going to the office thing. They began to do hybrid work models in which, you come to work on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and then you take Tuesdays and Thursdays to work from home. So people began to be flexible in terms of, the hybrid system. And, digital infrastructure began to develop. People began to develop digital infrastructures that would help remote work, So organizations began to develop apps. Before the pandemic, there was the Skype thing. We all knew Skype to be that office kind of setting, a platform that you use for remote meetings, with maybe a client that is based on another location or something. But Skype did not improve. Skype did not innovate. Skype did not, I would say they didn't work on their marketing strategy to adapt into the demands that COVID-19 brought and the remote work brought. But Zoom was able to do that. And so Zoom began to, grow in terms of usage, and Zoom became that acceptable platform that everyone was using. Of course, Google Meet also, started coming up as well. And Google Meet was also that platform that organizations were using. But of course, Zoom was that platform. So digital infrastructures were being developed by, IT companies or individuals to enable and encourage remote work. And then people began to see that, okay, as far as this new trend is concerned, I'm actually seeing that I can actually balance my work life and my, relationship life, my family life, and all of that. There was work-life balance at this point because you don't spend your whole time in the office all day. And sometimes some people work overtime until late in the evening and all of that. So there was no work-life balance. But in this case, there's work-life balance. You can be working from home, you can take a break, you can go into the kitchen, you can, be comfortable at, your restroom. Even while you're working, you can go to the toilet and all of that. Just give me a minute, please. I'm having a little distraction from the house. Let me just... Okay, so yeah. Then one of the trends that came up as a result of this was the accessibility to a global talent pool. Okay, so at this point, for instance, I'm in Nigeria. I have a colleague who is in Ghana. I have a colleague who is in Chile. I have a colleague who is in Argentina. So now we have a global talent pool in an organization that now appreciates the fact that we can have the best hands from every part of the country, as compared to having an office space where we are limited to just the people within that country. But right now, based on different experiences, based on the type of jobs that we want to do, based on the type of impact that we want to make globally, we can actually assess different staff or different employees from across the world. Another thing was flexibility and adaptability. We could now adapt to the new system. We can now adapt to. We can now be flexible in terms of how we work. Now, I run a nonprofit organization. Before now, I wasn't that person who thought that we could do remote work. Everyone has to come to the office, because if you stay at home, you will not be productive. So initially I wasn't really that flexible, but COVID made us flexible. And we began to think that, okay, so there's a possibility to work from anywhere. So I began to have people who would work, with me while they were in Edo State, while they were in Imo State, and and all of that. We could just call people together. Right now, we are implementing a project, on HPV vaccination in Jos, and I have, a team that are working in Jos. They don't have to be in Abuja, and I don't have to be in Jos. So we are all working together to ensure that we achieve what we want to achieve, but in different locations. So now I can have access to implementing a project in Jos, even if I don't live in Jos, because of the fact that the world has translated into remote work, digital nomadism, hybrid, and all of that. We all can work together. Now, in understanding and adapting to these trends, of course, we've talked about flexibility. Organizations have started becoming flexible. They're adapting to the new trends. They're now seeing that, okay, even with remote work, it can also have a toll on your well-being. Working remotely, you can sit in a place for a long time. Working remotely, if you don't strategically design your work time, your break time, and when you should stop, you probably can work into 10 p.m. because you think you're working from home, you have all the time to work from home. You may not be able to create that boundary, in terms of when you should work, when you should stop. You could just be carried away and you're working because, hey, I'm working from home, But one beautiful thing is that you can also have access to talents, working from anywhere. You can have access to talent. Organizations have seen that you can save costs, cut down the cost of maintaining an office space, cut down the cost of expenses for generator, for diesel, and all of that. You can cut down that cost completely because everyone or most people are working from home. There's that technological integration into the work system, into the work structure. We now have clouds where we can store our, everybody stores, they have a folder in the cloud where they can store the work that they're doing. The supervisor can go there, see the work that you're doing, make input and all of that. So that digital integration is there. The use of tools like Slack, for instance, where organizations can have like a team office or team chat box, or you could also use WhatsApp, for instance. You have everyone there, and then that communication can actually go on. One of the things that have also changed in terms of performance management is the fact that you don't measure performance like the regular way we used to do it, because everyone is in the office space. Even your attitude, your behavior, the way you communicate with people in the office, how often you are in the office, how early you come to work, and all of that are also some of the things that you use to measure performance. Apart from, of course, the regular task that you achieve and the goals that you achieve, but then every other thing are used to measure performance. In this case, it's not the same. You don't know what I'm putting on beyond the shirt. I could be putting on a short. Okay, so if it was in the office space where I have to come to the office, then you have to measure my performance as well, also based on the way that I look. Okay, you always dress smart, you represent the organizational culture in terms of the way you dress and all of that. But right now, you can't measure performance based on these things, but strictly based on the work that you put in. And of course, how quickly you respond to emails and communications are also important. It shows that you are always online or you are working at the time you said you're supposed to be working. One other thing is cultural considerations. People now consider culture in terms of, first, culture in terms of the culture of the people that you're working with, because now you're working in an organization that is intercultural, in the sense that there's someone who is from Asia that has a different culture from you who is in Nigeria, or from someone who is in the US, or and all of that. So we have to consider these different cultures. So the ability to work in a multicultural establishment or organization is there. So as a remote worker, you must be able to work in a multicultural establishment or multicultural organization. Then the other thing is the restructuring of the organizational culture per se, because right now, the organizational culture has become virtual in terms of that, in the sense that you no longer are working with people physically, you're working with them remotely. So there's a culture around remote work. There's a culture around how you communicate with people. There's a culture around how you express the organizational values, the organizational goals. Because right now, if I need you to be excellent at what you do, and that's a part of our organizational culture, if I need you to be diligent at what you do, it means that you're also going to be putting time. Integrity is one thing. Integrity is part of an organizational culture. So for you who is working remotely, I need to be able to sell the organizational culture of excellence, of diligence, of integrity to you, so that you know that if I am supposed to be working between 10 to 5 p.m., I am working between 10 to 5 p.m. I'm not watching movies, but I am actually making sure that I do my job. So I need to sell that culture to everyone, irrespective of where they are located, because we need people to also do their job when they are supposed to do their job, and then they are not using it to go to the market. I remember an organization during COVID, they said, okay, everyone should work from home in Nigeria here. And by the time you call people, you send an email, you find out that somebody is in the market during office hour. The person has gone to do something else. You call someone, they've already gone to their second hustle. They have a business, they've gone there and they're selling their market and all of that. This is supposed to be during work hour. For them, they just feel like, okay, you know what? Because nobody's watching me, then I can do other things. I can go visit my friends, and then from there I can reply my email and all of that. That's not how remote work should work, or that's not how remote work is operated. You should be at your office desk every day during the times that you're supposed to be working and doing your job and delivering on your task. Okay, so that's the way you can actually see the cultural considerations, both internal organizational culture and the cultural nuances of the different people that you work with. How I relate with you, how I talk to you should reflect that I consider your cultural preferences as well, because we are not from the same geographical location, all right? So let's look at the advantages, challenges, and strategies of improving, or having a successful remote work life. All right. So one of the advantage of remote work is flexibility. You can work from anywhere. You can work at any time. That flexibility is really, really good. It's an advantage, especially for someone who does remote work and you're a consultant. Being a consultant means that you can actually work with multiple organizations. For me, that's the type of work I prefer, and that's what I do. So I consult for multiple organizations. That gives me flexibility, because if, for instance, I am working for just one organization and I need to go to their office every day from 9 to 5, I won't be able to pull that through, because they require my 100%, time and attention at the office. So I cannot be using that office hour to do other people's work. But as a consultant, you're free, you have your stipulated amount of time that you need to work every week. It could be 20 days in a week, it could be 15 days in a week, it could be, so you have that specific time frame and number of days that you work as a consultant. And then at the same time, you also can be able to have you are free. Your contract would always, state it. You are free to work with other organizations. Why you're a consultant is because they are not factoring housing allowance, they're not factoring transportation allowance, they're not factoring health insurance and all of that. So you're just being paid and you can take care of all of these things. So as a consultant, you're free to work with anyone at any time, anywhere. That's now based on how much you can take as a consultant. So flexibility is great for remote work. The consultant will be happy to do remote work as compared to going to an office space. Increased productivity is also, one of the advantages of remote work. Elimination of commute and office distractions. So for some people, for people who work in Lagos, let's use Lagos for instance, you would have to leave your house as early as 5 or 6 a.m. so you can get to the office maybe 7 or 8. Okay, so coming back, it doesn't matter how you do it. If you live in the mainland and you are working, the island, you definitely will spend hours before you get home. So one thing that remote work does is to eliminate those commute time. It's a lot of time wasted. If you're working in Lagos, you should keep an extra 4 to 5 hours trying to commute from where you are to the other, except you live in the same area as where your office is, which a lot of people in Lagos don't have that luxury, to have. So that commute time is cut down completely. You work from home. You can wake up by 7 a.m. and start working by 7:10. You don't even have to brush your teeth, but you can do that because there is no commute time to be considered. Another thing, of course, is the office distraction. For those of us that work 9 to 5, you know that it is not in all of those 9 to 5 that you work. You have time to gist with colleagues. Some people will even be watching social media in between and all of that. So it's not all the 8 hours that you put in at work. So there is always that distraction that the office environment brings. But if you're working from home, even if there's a distraction, there are other things that will also even help to add value. For instance, for me, I can use it I can, structure my time and dedicate it to the different consultancies that I'm doing. I run a nonprofit organization myself. I also dedicate time to attend to my staff, attend to their emails and all of that. So these are different ways that you can actually increase productivity working from home or working from a co-working space. Cost saving, of course, it reduces expenses of commuting, it reduces expenses of office space and all of that. And for some people, things as simple as during break, you go to a restaurant to eat. It cuts that cost down because if there are people who, if you have food at home, all you need to do is go to the kitchen, get food to eat. So it cuts down the cost of even investing in eating from the restaurant and all of that. And of course, the food that you cook yourself is healthier, should be healthier to avoid food poisoning and all of those things. And those things, of course, can take time and take money. Work-life balance, better integration of work and personal life. I sit at home, I work from home, or I have an office space where I work from, but then it's also within the house environment and all of that. It just helps to have a work-life balance for me. When it's time, my break, for me personally, I structure my break time to be time for school runs. Usually it's a lot more difficult to do school runs when you do 9 to 5 and when your boss needs you to join a meeting or have a meeting or have a task done. But if I'm working from home, in my calendar, 2 p.m. to 2:30 is my break time, or 2 p.m. to 3 o'clock is my break time. I use it for school runs and then I use it to eat. Okay, so that gives me time for what I need to do. So that way I can also spend time with my children when it comes to taking them to school, bringing them back home, they'll always have that memory as compared to me doing 9 to 5 and they never see me. And I'd probably send the driver to always go pick them and all of that. So work-life balance is very important. You have time, to hug your children. You have time to hug your wife. My wife works, from home as well. So we both do remote work. We can just spend time in between our breaks, hug each other, smile at each other, ask each other, how is work going? Are you going through any stress? How can I help you and all of that? So there is that thing that is beautiful about remote work. It's very beautiful. Let me just leave it at that. All right, challenges of remote work. Communication. Now you can miscommunicate. There can be miscommunication between you and your colleagues or your supervisor. I remember one of the remote work I was doing. At the beginning, I was trying to really understand my supervisor. She's from another culture, another country. Her first language is French. Of course, she now learned English. But because of the way she communicates her English language, and I am here, she's in Geneva, there could be some things I would say, she wouldn't pick it. So when we come back for our next meeting, we're like, okay, this was what you said. And this was, I actually didn't understand it. I picked something else. Or this was what I asked, but then she picked something else. So I had to take time to really study her, understand her communication skill, to be able to really know what she's saying, or for me to clearly communicate what I mean. So if it means writing emails, if it means sending a voice note, if it means, so I had to intentionally ensure that I asked a lot of questions to be able to really understand what she's trying to communicate or the task she wants me to do. So because you have people who also speak different languages, who may not really understand, who understands English, but it's not their first language, it's a little bit difficult with communication. Emails can also be miscommunicated. So it's important that you understand these dynamics and ensure that you ask questions, ensure that you stick to understanding the other person and making sure that for every task that is given to you, you really fully understand it, okay? Isolation is one thing. I work from here, and there are a lot of work that I'm doing as a representative of the organization here in Nigeria, and I work alone from here. Is isolating. It can be really isolating because, yeah, sometimes you get the team from other countries to come and support you, but you're here alone and you need to get the job done. So isolation is one thing. If you're working remotely, you're working from home, you're isolated. Sometimes you want to quickly just, look at your colleague and say, bros, there's this thing I'm trying to do. I can't really figure it out. And the person can come and look at the system with you, and together you can figure those things out. That's, proximity is not there because you're working remotely and you sometimes need to figure things out yourself. And, sometimes you send an email, the reply will come 1 hour later, 2 hours later, and it probably would be urgent, email that you had sent. So these are some of the disadvantages or the challenges with remote work. Collaboration, difficulty in team bonding and brainstorming. I just gave an instance of just looking at your colleague and say, bro, this is what I'm thinking, this is the idea. We could just sit together, and talk through things immediately. That proximity is not there in remote work. You don't have that capacity to really bond. One of the things that that some organizations do is to have team retreats, okay? So the team retreat is just an opportunity for colleagues who have not really met each other, to come together once a year or twice a year. And they put a lot of team bonding activities. It's not just about the technical part of the work, but a lot of team bonding activities, a lot of brainstorming opportunities, so that even if you're not working together from the same space, over a period of time, you can build relationships, because that is really very important. Time management is also one challenge. Some people don't know how to manage themselves to time, because time is a consistent thing that flows. So you need to manage yourself to time. A lot of people don't know how to manage themselves to time. A lot of people don't know how to balance their work and their personal responsibilities. Okay, so if you don't have that personal capacity to do that, especially when you're working from home, it's important that you probably would look for a co-working space where you can go to work from there, achieve a lot of the tasks that you need to achieve before coming back home. A lot of people have challenge with that. Okay, so it's important to know how to balance your work life and your family life or your personal responsibility. So it's a challenge for a lot of people. Technology issues. Nigeria, if you're working remotely, you should have at least 2 to 3 different internet connections. Okay, so that way, whenever this one fails, the other one will not fail. You can easily or quickly switch. All right, so it's important to have that because internet can be a big issue, especially in Africa, especially in Nigeria. So you need to have options. Multiple options are important. Software tools are also important. Sometimes even the server from the cloud can shut down, and then the IT guys will have to fix it. Even your laptop your softwares can begin to have issues, and you need to call the IT guys from HQ to say, please, can you assess my system, and can you fix this issue? So these are some of the challenges that you can have. I remember one day my email just stopped working, and it took another 4 hours to get it fixed. I didn't know what happened, but I just could not access my email. So the IT team had to fix it. So those are some of the things that can actually happen. But if you're in an office space, you can just quickly walk to the IT office and say, guys, this is having issues. Can you help me fix it? And they would fix it. All right. So let's go to strategies for effective remote working. Communication tools are important. You can't do without all the communication tools that you need to work remotely. Zoom is a good platform. Microsoft Teams is a good platform. Slack is a good platform that you can use for communication. WhatsApp too, a lot of people use WhatsApp. A lot of countries use WhatsApp. Organizations use WhatsApp, but it's not really I wouldn't call it a professional platform. Slack is better, especially with the different tools that it has for you to be able to create a lot of things together in Slack. So look for great platforms that you can use. Google Meet is another platform, that you can use. The communication tools are fundamental for any remote work organization or individual. Establishing routines, set regular work hours and breaks to maintain productivity. So it's important that you have a routine. By 9 a.m. or 8:30, you should have had your bath. If you resume at 9, you should have had your bath, probably have your breakfast, do all the things that you need to do, but have your bath, dress up like you are working. That there's something mental that it does to you. There's an alertness, there's a sense of responsibility, a sense of productivity that it brings to you when you have that mindset that I'm working today. So you have your bath like you're going to the office, but you have a space where you work from, whether it's from home or something. But have that mentality that, okay, I have a routine. By 2 o'clock, I should go for a break. I should, do my school runs, eat and all of that, and come back to work. Or I have every 10 minutes or every 1 hour, I should take 10 minutes break, walk around, see what's going on, go for, use the restroom and all of that. You can have those routines that helps you be productive, but make sure that you have breaks in between, because you don't want to also have a sedentary life where you just sit down from morning till night working and all of that. It also adds to your weight. It adds to your energy level and all of that. Virtual collaborations are important. Leverage office, management tools, project management tools, video conferencing, virtual whiteboards. Just leverage the different tools that you can use for collaboration. Video conferencing is great. Sometimes when I need to get the right idea of what I'm thinking or what someone is thinking, I quickly shoot them an email and say, okay, can we set up a 15-minute call? Let's talk through this. Because a lot of times emails don't really do that much in terms of communication, especially if you really do not understand the other person. Just send a message and to say, can we jump on a call? you know, if it's multiple individuals, you guys jump on the call, you brainstorm, you talk through things, share ideas, share perspectives, and before you know it, the whole idea is formed. So that collaboration tool is important. Having a project management tool is also important when you have, you have that stipulated work that you need to do, and you have them on those tools. So for instance, I have this task, you outline all your tasks. If you're collaborating with someone else, they can see the task and you guys can work together effectively. Then building a community. Organizing virtual team meeting activities and check-ins to foster team cohesion. So as a supervisor myself, that I work with teams, what I do is I have a weekly check-in meetings with the people I supervise, every week. So once a week, we meet for 30 minutes. For some, it's 1 hour. We meet and then we talk through your activities for the past week. We talk through activities for the coming week. And then we look at your task and see how I can provide support and all of that. I also do the same with my own supervisor as well. So that way there is that check-in that fosters cohesion. And you can also build a community around what you're doing. For instance, you can even set up, apart from Slack, you can set up a community on that is focused on maybe the African team, because you want to build a community of people that think like you, have similar experience with you, and we are working in Africa together. You can build that community. You can build a community of the team that you supervise. It could even be on WhatsApp. So it's outside work kind of community, because you also want to create or build relationships with them. We talk professional office things on Slack, but we talk other things that are not office related, but personal sometimes, and just building relationship on WhatsApp. So that way you're able to build a good community, even though you're working virtual. All right, so let's quickly look at digital nomadism, and then we'll round up. Or because of time, I'll just quickly go into this. So digital nomadism is more of, like remote work, but in this instance, you're traveling while you're working, all right? So for someone who likes to travel around different states or travel around the country, you are working, or you're working remotely, but you're also traveling. So you decide to go to Canada next month. Okay, so you're working from Canada, and then you decide that you're going to the US the next 2 months. So you're traveling and while you're working. So that's what digital nomadism is. So of course you're leveraging on a lot of tools and technology to be able to ensure that you are also productive while you're doing this. There are people who like to travel around the world. They just want to live in different countries at the same time. So those digital nomads, they enjoy themselves really, as long as you have all the tools that you need. One of the things that is the characteristics of a digital nomad is that they are location independent. Locations don't tie them down. So they can work from anywhere, they can go anywhere, they rely on technology, they embrace diverse cultures, popular places where digital nomads would, love to work, because they also consider a lot of things in terms of cost of living, cost of internet, technology, all of these different things. Lisbon, like Portugal is one place, Bali is another place. Nigeria, I wouldn't consider Nigeria as a place where you want to always travel to as a digital nomad, because our internet can be frustrating, but yeah, if you love Nigeria and you want to visit, maybe not for too long, but you have to figure out the tools that you need. So what are the pros of the digital nomad or digital nomadism kind of work? Freedom to travel and explore new cultures, opportunities for personal growth and self-discovery. Like we know, traveling is a way to learn. Traveling broadens your horizon. Traveling even helps you discover yourself, as you travel. And it also gives you opportunity for personal growth, because you begin to learn different cultures, different people. You learn a lot of things as you travel. Networking with other digital nomads and professionals globally. As as you step into that space, you begin to find out that you need to create a community as well for yourself. And you need to actually get used to the people who are also doing the same thing. Because there's something about working. If you begin to work in a space, you need to build a network or build relationship with the people that work in that same space. Because you also would need help sometimes. So you need those type of people. The cons, lack of stability and routine. Okay, so for a digital nomad, a lot of times, if for instance you're traveling, you may go through a place where there is no internet. Okay, so between that period, you may not be working. You may be working offline, yeah, of course, but you don't have that structured routine because you're always on the move. You don't build a life in a location because in the next couple of months, you probably would leave that place. So there's no stability around what you're doing or around your life, for instance. Of course, there's the potential for loneliness and isolation because you probably are traveling alone most of the times. Challenges in managing finances and logistics. It's expensive to travel, and sometimes the logistics may fail you in terms of how you move from one place to the other. You require to book a taxi, you require to get a driver, you require to book a flight, all of those logistics around traveling is there. But of course, there are people who love it, so they tend to manage it. All right, so the tips for successful digital nomadism. One would be research your destination. If you want to be a digital nomad or you're a digital nomad, it's important that you research your destination. Look at the internet, look at the affordability of the cost of living. How much will it cost you to rent an Airbnb or rent a hotel or rent a place for the next 1 month or the next 6 months? Look at the work environment. If you want to work from where you live, or you could also look at the place if they have a co-working space, if you're not the type who can manage yourself when you are in a relaxed environment. So you have to look at all of these things, research the place, see if the place is even safe, okay? See if they have good internet and all of that. You also need to budget. You don't just spend money. You have to think about, okay, how much am I earning? How much am I going to budget for each of this trip in terms of my travel expenses, my accommodation, even for emergencies, my health insurance, for instance. I need to factor all of these things. Time management is also important. Establish a routine and prioritize tasks to maintain productivity. I would always tell people, if you are a remote worker, you have to be exceptionally self-disciplined. You need self-discipline to be able to ensure that you get your job done, because there's a possibility for you to stay from Monday to Thursday and you're not really practically doing anything. You're just surfing the internet, you're watching short videos on Instagram. Before you know it, 2 hours have gone. And before you know it, the week has gone and you are getting close to Friday and you're asking yourself, what have I done? So it's important to really be disciplined if you're going to be working remotely, especially when you're working from home. And it's important to set boundaries even between your work, your leisure activities, at home, to avoid burnout. Because trust me, you can work to 2 a.m. You can work to 2 a.m. There's one thing that's one of my colleagues does. Once it is 5 p.m., they shut down. They turn off the notification on Slack, on the Slack platform. They turn off the notification on any platform that we're using. They will reply your emails, even if you send them past 5. They will reply your email the next day when they get back. So that way, they can maintain a work-life balance. So I know I'm working from 10 to 5. And once it's 5 p.m., I shut down. And then I can focus on my family or focus on other things that I'm supposed to be doing. So that way, it helps you to create balance and you don't burn out, all right? So in conclusion, one of the things that I would advise is embrace flexibility and innovation in this digital era. Kemi talked about AI, the use of AI. Embrace it. Don't say, I want to be original. See, ChatGPT will save you time. I don't need to stay and be cracking my brain about how to construct this email and all of that. I just need to prompt ChatGPT and put the right words or the core things that I need in that email, ChatGPT will generate the email for me. And then I can customize it to sound like me and also to be able to effectively reach the person that I want to reach. So it doesn't change your style. It's just that you are saving time. Okay, if I would need to develop a concept note of 2 pages or 3 pages, I need to think a lot, but I have the idea, I have everything I need. I put all of the different ideas, the introduction, the objectives, the outcomes and all of that. I just, list them out. ChatGPT will construct the English for me, the grammar and everything. It's that easy. So as a remote worker who probably also has other consultancies that you have, 3, 4 consultancies you're doing, you don't have all the time because you will just burn out. All you need to do is to take advantage of AI, take advantage of ChatGPT, for instance, and get these things out quickly. So it gives you a first draft, and then you can now develop it or design it in the way that you seem to be, best for you. Adapt to evolving work trends. So remote work will be evolving. There are a lot of things that will be coming up, with the AI thing. Lots of technology will be coming up. Lots of apps will be developed to help you. For instance, there's an app to help you ask for a leave. There's an app for you to retire the funds that you've been given. Because you're not physical with the finance team, there's an app for that. So there's a platform where you go to, you upload all your expenses, upload everything, and then, your supervisor approves, and then if you also want to apply for funds for a project, you apply for funds. There are apps for all of these different things. Okay, so it's important that as these apps are being developed, you learn to use them. Of course, the organization will train you, but it's important to learn to use these things. I remember during COVID, when COVID struck, a lot of people didn't know how to use Zoom before COVID. But because they were forced to work from home, people started calling, okay, please, Chris, I need your help. Of course, the dinosaurs, our older generation friends and family started calling and say, please, I need you to teach me how to use Zoom. I need you to teach me how to use this platform, because they never used it. They never thought about having a computer or working from home. So as the new technologies evolve, the new trends evolve, organizations will be adapting them. And then it's important for you to also bring yourself up to speed. Develop new skills, all right? So for the fact that you're working from home doesn't mean that you shouldn't develop new skills. Develop new skills, even introduce it to the organization you work with to say, can we do this differently? It will help with the remote work for everyone, because you need to always improve on yourself and help improve the organization. A lot of times, the skills that organizations are looking for now are soft skills that can also help you relate with multicultural organizations. Okay, emotional intelligence is important. The capacity to communicate effectively is important. I remember, there was a time I was talking to my supervisor, and she was saying that one of the things we were looking at in terms of the person for this particular job, when we're looking for someone to fill the role, was the fact that we needed someone who has the ability to work or who has gained experience in working in an international organization, number one, who has worked in a multicultural organization, number two, who has also developed the skills to work virtually, number three. So sometimes, or a lot of times, you need to develop these skills. There are a lot of skills that are tied to working remotely. You need to develop these skills, not just about, oh, I know how to do this job. No. What will make you stand out are these extra things that people are looking for. Think global. Think global. The world is now a global village. As you're looking for a job, don't just look for a job that is 9 to 5. If you're that type of person that loves remote work and you love the lifestyle around remote work, think global. Think that you can actually assess this type of jobs, because the problem is we don't see ourselves as people who can work in a global organization. And because we don't see ourselves as that, we don't attract those opportunities. And because you don't see yourself like that, you won't be attracting the opportunities and the required skills that you need to improve on to be able to access this type of jobs. So think global. Think you can work with anybody from anywhere at any time. It doesn't matter who the person is. You can work with anyone. And then ensure you have the right work tools always. Invest on your laptop, invest on internet, invest on the different tools that you need to always work, because you need it to be effective, at what you do. All right, thank you very much, because I am right here, which is thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. That was really beautiful. Thank you so much. And I like how detailed it was. I mean, very, very detailed. So giving us the pros and the cons and all. So to just really help us make a more informed decision about remote work. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I have the opportunity to take 2 questions, and one has come in already. And okay, so I'll read it out. I have it in the comments, and I'll just read it out again. So what strategies can one employ to secure remote job opportunities, particularly those outside the country? That's the person's question. Okay, so we can't hear you. I think you're muted, sir. Yeah.
All right, sorry about that. Okay, so it's important to just search for information online. Google, social media, in fact, Instagram, you see some, for instance, if you check MedConsult on Instagram, you will see that they always provide tools for, employees. So follow these people online. You would see that they always share, these are the different sites where you can find remote jobs, Fiverr and all of these different platforms. So if you follow these work-ready organizations, or or individuals that provide tools and resources for employees, you'll be able to get some of these things. If you search on Google, you'd find how to get remote work. You'd find it. ChatGPT, just type how can I get strategies for securing remote work. ChatGPT will give you different strategies. But one of the things that I always say is that if you're going to get a remote work, it's important to build the skills first. Okay, so what are the required skills that you need? Number 1. Number 2, how do I develop or design my CV to be able to meet the requirements of a remote worker? That's number 2. Number 3 is to now say, okay, so I need to identify the different organizations or the different platforms where I can get remote work, and now begin to apply. Okay, so if I have all of my tools ready, I can now begin to apply. One thing that I also add is that you need to be specific about what you want. Okay, a lot of times we just want to apply for everything we see. Hone your skills. There are people who have potentialite, or people who have gained several experiences over time. But if you are that type of person who has several experiences over different things, try as much as you can to have different CVs for those things, especially if you are very good at all of them. Design specific CVs for different job experiences, and then you begin to apply. I love LinkedIn because LinkedIn is a very good place where you can actually find remote jobs, because it's a professional platform. People have come to the point where they have appreciated, or they appreciate remote work, and you would have options for some of those type of jobs. Go to LinkedIn, build networks, build connections with people on LinkedIn, especially people in the space that you want to start working, because they would always also provide resources to say, oh, this organization or my organization is looking for so and so. And so you can have that opportunity to apply. Networking is very important. A lot of people do not know how powerful networking is. With networking, you can get referrals. With networking, you can get opportunities to actually apply for remote work. So yes, these are some of the tips that you can actually use as strategies.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, sir. Please, if you have any other questions, let us know. I like the fact that you addressed the need to first get the skill set or the tools So you're not sort of learning on the job, because I think it's one way difficult when you're doing that remotely rather than the traditional style of working. So thank you so much, sir. This was very helpful. And I picked that networking as well. Yes, I picked that definitely. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This was so good. Thank
I
you
see
for...
Ruth. Ruth is raising her hand up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Ruth.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Meg Consult, for putting this together. So about remote jobs, as you asked us what you understand by it, I had typed in the comment section that we were fighting on that on Twitter, and you said we're going to do that later. Okay, so I'd like you to react to this. So Alibaba posted a job vacancy, you know, a comedian. We're not sure when he's serious or when he's joking. So he says that a company in search of an executive assistant to work remotely from Nigeria. Monthly salary is 500,000 naira. Benefits include health insurance from Avon, office space provided for the remote job. So people were like, okay, he's a comedian, remote plus an office space, and people were laughing. Then there was this comment that he liked that says, ladies and gentlemen, this is why recruiters say people are unemployable. If you think remote means work from home, why not relax and learn something new instead of arguing? Actually, screw this civil approach. And it says, if remote means work from home to you, Olodo Rabata Niye. So that's it. And thankfully, we're having this conversation on remote jobs. So I like to know, what is the problem with that job vacancy post that he shared? A remote job with an office space.
Yeah. So like we said initially, the thing about remote job is you are not in the space where, or you're not in the office space, traditional office space that your employer provided or provides. Okay, so your employer can be in the US and he needs an executive assistant, but he also wants to be able to ensure that you work effectively. So they decide to provide an office space for you. They can even tell you, be the one to look for an office space, tell us what the amount is, and we'll pay for it. Okay, so you're not with them in the US. They probably have a team in the US and they have an office in the US, but they need someone from anywhere who can be an executive assistant or a virtual assistant. And they can help you get a co-working space or help you get a space where you can work effectively from. So that's also a remote job because you are not with your employer in their present location. You are in different locations. Okay, so remote job does not necessarily mean that you must work from home. So I have this consultancy that I'm doing, and they say you can work from anywhere. But then they also give me an opportunity to say, you can decide to work from home, and we also have our partners who can give you an office space where you can work from. So if you don't feel comfortable working from home, or you think there are days where you need to work from the offices of our partners, we have a contract with them, they can give you a space. So it's now based on your preference to say, okay, where can I work from that is, effective for me? And even with working from an office space that is provided for you, you don't have to stay there all the time because you are the only person who controls your time and controls how you work. So they're not here to see that you are here 9 to 5. Nobody's going to be putting a camera on you to ensure that they are monitoring you. The idea is that we want to provide a space for you that can help you be effective. So, that's what it is. So it's okay. He is right. You can have an office space, but as long as you are not in the same location or in the same office space provided by your employer where the both of you are working from, then it's also remote. It doesn't have to be working from home.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for sharing your knowledge here with us. Thank you very much. And if anyone has further questions, we'll take it some other time. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so before we have Susan take us, I just want us to do something very quickly. So we have a few copies of Ready, Set, Workbook, a guide to preparing for the workplace, written by our convener for today, Eniola Peters. And we want to give this away because we are very nice people and we just want to give it to you. But we have a few instructions to enable you to get a copy of this book. So we have 3 copies. Am I right, Mark? We have 3 copies to give away, and the instruction is very simple. So just take a screenshot of today's session. Tell us what you learned, what stood out for you from any of the speakers. Just have it in an Instagram post, have it on your stories, and tag us. In the next 1 hour, when this conference ends, the first 3 people to tag us with lessons that they learned from today's conference, we would communicate with you and send a copy of Ready, Set, Work to you. And also the feedback form is in the comments. You can start filling it, please. So we have our last speaker for today. I'm also very excited to learn from her, and her topic will be on personal branding and ethics online ethics. And it will be taken by Susan Adesina. Susan, okay, I'll stick with Susan. To be safe, I'll just stick with Susan. So Susan is a digital content strategist, a copywriter, and personal brand coach, passionate about empowering individuals and businesses to unlock their online potentials. Her journey began in a traditional 9-to-5, but her passion for freedom, channeled productivity, led her to become a personal brand coach, dedicated to guiding others to escape underpayment and find fulfillment online. Through her signature program, the Personal Brand Accelerator Mentorship Program, Susan provides individuals with tools and resources they need to harness the power of social media and build a powerful online presence. With a proven track record of success working with brands like Vesti, Postmedia, and Africado, Susan uses her expertise to help individuals achieve similar results. So please kindly make welcome Coach Sue. I like to call her Coach Sue. She's our personal branding coach. And just be very open-minded. I mean, after today, you will run back to your social media. You will revamp it. You will ensure that you take your online presence very seriously. So thank you very much, Susan. We're delighted to have you here.
Thank you so much, Ado. I hope everyone can hear me. Please just confirm that you can hear me. Thank you, Mrs. Eniola Peters, for the opportunity. Thank you so much, everyone. I know our time is fast spent. Okay, nice, you can hear me. Thank you. I know our time is fast spent already, so I'll not waste your time. I'm going to dive right in, go straight to the point, and I'm going to make this session as actionable as possible. Just like Ado mentioned, when we are done with this session, you are going to go back and begin to rethink your online presence. That's my goal. You're going to go back and begin to rethink your personal brand. You are going to rethink the digital space, right? So I'll just go on to share my screen. Ado, am I allowed to share my screen?
Just a moment,
Okay, thank you.